in the case of Michelle and Barack, it's option 3. They are both raging narcissists. So yes, in their case, marriage is hard, but only because they're narcissists, and marriage requires you to consider the needs of someone other than yourself. Michelle Obama, speaking of podcasts that nobody listens to, she's back on her podcast, once again complaining about her husband. So here is Jesse Waters, so that we don't have to wade through it. Jesse Waters played some of the highlights or lowlights on his show last night. So here it is. Watch this.
Did you catch Michelle's latest podcast? It's bad. There's a therapist. Her big bro made the cut, but Barack, he's MIA. Turns out things aren't as they seem.
A lot of young people could look at that and go, I want a marriage like Michelle and Barack.
Right.
And it's like, well, let me talk about what marriage is, because it's, even when it looks good, even when it's great, it's hard. And so I think it's important because, it's very easy to quit on a marriage.
Michelle didn't hold back. Besides canceling Barack's pickup games, she hates what he does with his mouth. The chewing.
The way you're chewing makes me want to smack you upside the head. The girls and I are very irritated with the way Barack chews.
Oh, my.
Well, chewing is the essence. Like, you hear the otherness of a person, right? You hear they have a body, they have saliva. They're like, it's like,
but why does it annoy us?
Barack can't even eat in peace. Even when Barry keeps his mouth shut, Michelle's still complaining.
Now that we're empty nesters, it's like, well, what are we going to talk about? So we're together all day, and we do this thing where it's like, I'll see him, and it's like, what you been doing? It's like, don't tell me until dinner, because we got to have something to talk about at dinner. So if all throughout the course of the day I'm getting caught up on his stuff, then it's like we're sitting staring at each other. Are we missing something?
To talk about.
I got to say, I never thought I could ever feel sorry for Barack Obama. I never thought I was capable of experiencing that emotion towards Barack Obama. But I do kind of feel sorry for him whenever I see these clips. When I see these clips of Michelle Obama, I do sort of feel sorry. I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine? You were the president of the United States of America. You achieved something that only 44 other Americans, I think it's 44 other, right? Because if the non-consecutive terms, and so it's whatever, 45 total. So you achieved something that 44 other Americans have ever achieved. Okay, you had the same job that George Washington had. You're one of the most famous people in the entire world. You're one of the most influential Americans of all time. Now, in Barack's case, of course, your influence is terrible and toxic and poisonous, and you were a disaster. I think Barack Obama's presidency will go down as the most disastrous presidency in American history. But put that aside, okay? Put that aside, because that's not how Michelle Obama would see it. The point is simply that you were the president, and now in retirement, here's your wife. Here's the person who identifies as your wife, whining about you and nagging you in a podcast every day, telling the world that you chew too loud. Okay? You were the president, and here is your wife. He chews too loud. One of the most important men in American, important in a bad way. Again, I have to keep clarifying. Important in a bad way, but put that to the side. One of the most important men in American history, and here's your wife sitting around a table, gossiping about you. I don't like it when he chews loud. Being married to him isn't so great, just so you know. My God, what a nightmare. What hell on earth that must be. Marriage is hard, she says. And because that was the main reason I wanted to address it, because she says this thing, marriage is hard. And in fairness, a lot of people say that. She's not the only one to say that. That's the great wisdom, the great insight that you hear all the time from people these days. And I got to tell you, and it's very discouraging, I think, to a lot of young people that aren't married, and they hear this, and I hear married people like Michelle Obama, talk about marriage, complaining about their spouse, talking about, it's so hard. Oh, it's a hard. Oh, what toil and drudgery is marriage. Oh, yeah, it's worth it, but it's so hard every day. Every day is just, it's like pulling teeth every day. Well, I got to tell you, almost 15 years in, 6 kids, I don't agree with that. Okay? I don't think marriage is hard. Okay? It's actually not hard. Actually, marriage is pretty easy. Okay, and again, it's not like I'm a year into it. It's not like I got married 6 months ago and you could say, oh, wait, you're in the honeymoon phase. Wait till you know what? Not only is it not hard now, 15 years in, it's actually easy. It actually got easier. I looking back at it now, I would say that the hardest part, as much as we hear about this honeymoon phase thing, actually the hardest part is like the first year. The part that's supposed to be, I guess, the way people talk about it, is like bliss, nothing but bliss. It's the honeymoon phase. I would say the hardest part is the first year, which makes sense because you're getting adjusted to it, and you've never, especially if you did it the right way and you waited to live with the person until you were married to them, then you've never, you've never lived with someone before. Maybe you had a roommate or something, but you've never. So this is new, and you're getting adjusted to that, and so it kind of makes sense. And you're also younger, right? So it makes sense that it gets easier. Like and now it's marriage is easy. It really is, and it's fun. It's like now you could say. Life is hard. Okay. Living is hard, and there's challenges that come with it. And so if you mean that marriage is hard in that kind of like broad sense, in the sense that just like life is hard, or can be, then fine. But marriage itself is for the most part easy and fun. And it should be. I mean, you've got someone that you love and hopefully like, and you're around them all the time, and you can hang out and you can go out and do you've got, that's a good thing. And when you compare it to the alternative, I mean, there's no contest. There are really only 2 things that can make marriage hard. Really only 2. And one is if you're married to a narcissist, or 2, if your spouse is married to a narcissist, meaning that you're the narcissist. Or 3, is the combination of the 2, which is the hardest of all, if you're both narcissists. And by the way, most of the time, it's option 3. Most of the time, when you meet someone who's married to a narcissist, they're also a narcissist, because narcissists tend to, they tend to find each other in that way. Not always, but most of the time. Now, if it is option 3 and you're both narcissists, any marriage where it's option 3, both of them will think that it's option 1. They both think that, oh my gosh, I'm married to a narcissist, because they don't realize that they are too. And that only makes it harder because of they don't even understand what situation they're in. So all that to say, marriage fundamentally is not hard, doesn't have to be hard, shouldn't be hard. It's not to say you don't encounter challenges. It's not to say you don't have things you have to work through. Of course, all that's the case, but generally speaking, like, it's not, you should not be, and you don't have to wake up every day where this is some great challenge. Like, most of the time, it's great. It's like pretty easy. You should go through most of your days, and like the fact that you're married really doesn't present any challenges. In fact, most of the time, it's an asset. But with that said, I don't doubt what Michelle Obama is saying, because in the case of Michelle and Barack, it's option 3. They are both raging narcissists. So yes, in their case, marriage is hard, but only because they're narcissists, and marriage requires you to consider the needs of someone other than yourself. And if you aren't a narcissist, it's usually not any great challenge to consider someone else's needs. Now, we all have moments of selfishness. I'm certainly not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But for normal people, considering someone else's needs, it's not impossible. And in a marriage, often it's enjoyable. Like, you like doing things for your spouse. You like to see them happy. You like to make them feel appreciated. That's the way that it should be. That's the way that it can be. Again, unless you're a narcissist. So when you hear someone saying this, oh, so hard. It's so hard. Maybe they are maybe they made the unfortunate mistake of marrying a narcissist, but most likely this is what you're listening to is a narcissist speaking. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.